Good morning, mariners. The virtue of the month for this September is charity. A parent student is caring, respectful, understanding, and refined. He serves others, especially the needy. Okay, charity is basically love. Charity is synonymous to love. And when we love, when we have charity, we respect other people. And what is the basis for doing so? The basis is each person is made in the image and likeness of God. So how we treat other people is how we treat God. Okay, so to respect means basically means to treat someone or something well. So whether it's our classmates, parents, friends, teachers, or staff of Northfield, or even God. Respect can also be with one's property, school property, classmate stuff, or God's things. For example, when we take care of them, we don't vandalize, we don't steal them, or when we don't destroy them. Basically, we're showing respect when we do those things. Okay, so there are many places where we can apply charity. So for today, we'll discuss three areas: in the home, the school, and in the community. Okay, so first, in the home. So some examples of how we can live out charity or love respect in our home with our own families is when we do acts of service. So we have a lot of charity when we do acts of service. What are examples of these? For example, at meal times, okay? So when even if you're hungry already, you try to pass on the plate, you pass on the bowl of soup, you pour water on the glass of your brother or sister, especially if it's empty already. Um, and when you do your chores, such as when you clear out the table, when you wash the dishes, for example, no? You arrange the kitchen. No? So these and the others chores, when you do those things, no, you're contributing to the betterment of our home. Okay, so I hope mariners will do a lot of acts of service, no, especially in the home. There's an acronym SOFA. SOFA, that means SOFA, serve others first always. No? So when we serve others first always, no? Such as the examples I have given, we do acts of service and we show love and respect to them. We practice charity. Okay. So another example of an act of service, is when we help our brother, for example, in his homework. For example, when you're done with yours, okay, and you can already play, your parents already allowed you, but you see your brother still struggling with his homework. No? So what you can do, instead of playing, well, you're allowed to play, but you decide to help out your brother so that he can also finish his work and can also play already. Of course, when helping him, you don't do his homework for him. Otherwise, he will not learn. No? What you can do is to help him, give him tips, coach him, so that he can answer the questions, no, in his assignment. Okay, again, you're not doing the homework for him, but you are helping. Okay, so another way to practice charity or acts of service would be using kind words, no, at home. Okay, so for example, when we correct our brother or sister gently, okay, in a refined way, that's an act of service. That's a use of kind words, an act of charity, rather. Okay, so for example, your brother is annoying. Instead of shouting at your brother when it's annoying, saying bad words to him, instead of punching him, you tell him gently. You say, for example, you say, "Hey, excuse me, you're being annoying already. Please, can you please stop? Okay, can you please stop? Okay." So you can actually make your brother stop by being calm and composed and acting charitably instead of making the situation worse and fighting. Okay, another act of charity would be listening and understanding. Okay, so let's say you'd like to rest already, no, but your brother or sister still has some stories to tell. No, you can spare off some time. You can spare off some time. Okay, and also even if you see someone who has a defect, Let's say your brother or sister did not do the homework, no? So instead of judging him outright, saying to him, "Ah, you're so lazy. Why don't you do your homework already? That's actually what mom and dad told us." No? Yeah, instead of saying those uncharitable words, you can try to understand how come he did not do his homework. No? Maybe he has a problem. Maybe he has some difficulties. No? Okay, and use kind words, no, to help him to do his work rather than to say it in an hurting way, in a hurting way. Okay, all right. So other examples of kind words will be the basic things such as saying please, thank you, I'm sorry. So for Filipinos, we are polite in by nature, so we use po and opo. Thank you po, salamat po. Okay, there. So these are basic words, but if they are omitted, if you don't say them, wow, it can make the home an unpleasant one, and sometimes it can hurt, especially if you don't say sorry when you do something wrong. Don't say sorry. Oh, that's really something that is not nice and will not contribute to the betterment of the family. Okay, so I hope you mariners remember to say these kind words. No? All right. So charity can also be applied at school. Okay. Well, we're not physically in school at this moment, but even in remote learning, let's practice charity. Okay. So one example would be respecting teachers and classmates, no? Even in remote learning. No? And there are many ways to do so. So one is to practice the um, etiquette, no? Means polite or correct behavior during virtual meetings. No? So for example, um, when it's not yet your turn to speak, you mute yourself. Okay, so you don't have to disturb the others with the background sounds in your home. So in doing so, the teacher can explain things well, and you will contribute to a good environment in school. Okay, so when you use the chat box for questions and contributions, you contribute to something that is helpful for the class. Okay, try to avoid using the chat box to tease a classmate, or to flood it with useless things. Okay, you contribute only what is helpful. Okay, because sometimes there's a good question from your classmate, but then if you use the chat box for I don't know, useless or jokes, the teacher might not see the good question of your classmates, and what he sees is just your jokes or your teasing the other classmates. Okay, so your behavior online can contribute to a good climate in our school. All right, and you wait for your turn when it's your turn. It's really difficult if all people are saying things at the same time. No? Okay, so that's part of being charitable. And of course, even if you're not seen in your video, it's good that you stay attentive. So pay attention to your teacher. That's a sign of respect. All right. So one thing that I hope mariners will avoid would be this thing, cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is really a manifestation of lack of charity, lack of respect. Okay. So as mentioned, Northfield Mariners must be respectful and polite. And the basis of this is that Jesus himself said, whatever you do to the least of your brethren, you did it to me. So if you're disrespectful to your classmate, you are disrespecting God himself. No? So we want a safe, secure, stimulating, and supportive learning environment. We want Northfield to have a good learning environment and good relationships with the people, with fellow students, and with teachers also. No? So that's why it's important that we avoid cyberbullying, which is willful aggressive behavior. Okay? So when you do cyberbullying, Normally, the other person may be outnumbered when sometimes a group of people tease or annoy another person who can be younger or weaker or with a disability who are less confident or otherwise vulnerable. Okay, and then bullying can be physical, social, or psychological. No? Okay, so I'll give you some examples. Okay, so exclusion. Okay, you invite everybody, let's say to a Google Meet, no, and then you intentionally leave someone out so that you will make other person feel bad. Okay, because you don't want the other people to be friends with that particular person. So that's an example of bullying. Okay? So harassment, disturbing, annoying, or insulting persistently, sometimes to the point of provoking you. No? So if someone disturbs you or insults you, especially repeatedly, okay, so that's a form of harassment, which is bullying. Raping, no? Someone logs into your account without your consent, pretending to be you, then posting offensive pictures or comments under your name. So that means the other person who logged into your account, okay, might post or comment things such as you're ugly, no, you're such a loser, ganyan. And then of course the other people will think that it is you who is doing that. No? So that's an example of cyberbullying. I hope this doesn't happen to you, or mariners do not do these things. No? So outing, humiliating someone publicly by posting to the internet, which is something that is supposed to be private and done without consent. No? Let's say you share a secret to someone, and that someone shares the secret to the internet by posting it in Facebook. Okay, so that's an example of outing, and that's a sign of disrespect. Okay, fake profiles. No? So let's say uh, Mario, okay, makes a fake profile in Facebook. He names himself John, a classmate, and then he puts John's picture there, and then he starts to say to the other classmates, "Hey, I am having trouble doing my homework. Can you share me your homework?" Ayan. So the other people might think it is John who is asking for the homework, no? When in fact it is Mario. Okay, so that can be an example of bullying, no? Because your name is damaged. No? Okay, dissing, sending or posting damaging information about you, whether it's photos, videos, or screenshots. No? All right. So these and many others are forms of disrespect, which I hope none of you will do. Okay, let's all practice charity instead. Okay, so charity in the community. So I remember before in Northfield we will do some outreaches. Okay, when we try to give something to the poor, no? Less fortunate. So these are inspired actually by charity, concern for the others. No? So because we recognize that many Northfield students are blessed, but many other kids are not so blessed materially. For example, some people they don't even have a set of Crayola or notebooks or plastic envelopes. No? So that's why we do these things to share our blessings to others. Okay, so sharing is very good. No? Right. So the internet is also a community. Let's remember that. So whether we are in the internet or not, it's important that we practice charity. Let's behave with a lot of charity. So let's avoid trolling, annoying, or uncharitable behavior, even online. Even online. So let's be careful with what we post, with what we share, no? Because these things affect others. You understand? So it's important that what we contribute in the internet would be helpful things for others, okay, rather than annoying things. Okay, so let's be conscious and practice even in the internet. Okay, so again, charity basically, with a lot of charity, we will respect other people. We will treat people or even things well. All right. And finally, I'd just like to end that if you find it difficult to practice charity, I suggest you go to the source of charity, who is our Lord Jesus Christ. No? And when you attend, let's say, the Holy Mass or pray the Rosary, and when you do your prayer, Jesus will give you the grace to practice charity. Okay? And Mama Mary is the perfect, the person who perfectly lived charity. So if you go to her, let's say when you pray the Rosary, especially this month, on her birth month, September, okay, um, Mama Mary will help you to become closer to Jesus. Okay, so I have some short questions here that can help you, whether you are living charity or not. Okay, and if uh, these questions would be helpful for you, that would be good. So it's important that you pause and read and reflect. Am I aware of God's love and the help that He gives me at all times? Do I try to help everyone, my siblings and my classmates? Do I smile, politely greet, and spread joy and peace to people around me? Do I treat all teachers and school authority with respect? Am I patient with other people? Do I pray for the needs of people every day? Do I give positive suggestions to help my siblings and classmates improve? Alright, so that's the end of this presentation. So I hope we all practice the virtue of charity.